I'm Corey from Stegosaurus.
And I'm Danny from We the Geeks of East LA.
And on Christmas, about 6 months ago, Carlos made a video for my cousin who loves Power Rangers so much. Christmas morning, I asked him if he would do it for him, and by the evening, he made a whole video saying, "Merry Christmas, Nicholas," and it was great. So I decided to make him this Ninja Storm sword out of MDF, foil tape, and 3D printed body. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I made it. But first, I'd like to present it to Carlos.
Oh, just give me 1 second, yeah. Ninja Sword! Ranger form! Ha!
That was amazing. Please accept this. Yeah, keep ending perfectly in frame. I like it.
I modeled the sword in 3D inside of Maya using reference pictures I found online, and then 3D printed it. Next I traced out the shape of the blade into some MDF. I then cut out the sword from the MDF using a jigsaw. Next I measured the center of the blade where I wanted the point to be. Then I used a spoke shave to get the basic shape of the slope of the blade. To fine tune it, I took it to my belt sander and went back and forth until I was happy with the shape and the pointiness of it. Next I primed the 3D printed parts. I used super glue and zip kicker to glue the pieces together. When I spray the super glue with the zip kicker, it immediately hardens. This makes it very easy to work with. The gold part came in a lot of pieces that would later need to be filled in with Tamiya putty. I used Tamiya putty to fill in the gaps between the 3D printed parts. This should be used in a well-ventilated area and with gloves. You can see it fills in those gaps between the pieces. Next I did a lot of wet sanding. I would go back and forth with filler primer and wet sanding to get a nice smooth shape and get rid of the 3D print lines. Next came the fitting. I had to go back and forth a little bit with the jigsaw and the belt sander to get this to fit properly. Perkins likes to help me. Sometimes he tries to get into the rafters.
Kitty. Bad.
Next I give it a few coats of red, and then tape it up to do the gold. After I remove the tape, it has nice sharp lines. Next I hand painted the white parts of it. I found that the best way to make these numbers was to actually just draw them very carefully with a Sharpie. I had made stamps, but they didn't work too well. Next I printed out the logo that goes on the hilt. Printed it on photo paper, and then cut it out very carefully. And then I glued it on. Next I used foil tape to make the wood look like metal. This is a really effective technique that once it's sanded down, looks just like aluminum. Even if it had little wrinkles while trying to put it on, sanding it down really smooths it out, and those imperfections actually make it look more real in my opinion. I used little furniture feet to try to get the spacing right between the 3D printed parts and the MDF. Next I drilled and put a nail inside to hold the end to it, and then filled in with the gaps between the pieces. Those would later be painted gold. Next I used wood glue and put the handle on very messily. But after I cleaned it up, it stuck pretty well. With the furniture feet in there, it's really stuck in there. And that is how I created the Ninja Storm sword.